welcome to the Rise Above show with Patricia Jo Grover, where we turn believers into achievers and rise above our challenges. I want to take a quick moment to thank our sponsors, 133 Approved Funding. It's money when you need it. They've been there to help businesses be able to keep their doors open and keep people employed. And they're there for the people that are now trying to open and start and scale their businesses, as well as provide funding for consumer funding for people to be able to take advantage of services that my guest today, Dan Capellan, offers, or those of my own. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. In the meantime, I want to tell you a little bit about Dan. He's going to be a speaker with us on the upcoming Rise Above Summit in the vocational dimension of life. And what is that? That has to do with careers and everything. So I'm really looking forward to telling you a little bit more about him. During Dan's life and his corporate and entrepreneurial career, he evolved from someone who only knew self-reliance to someone who values and teaches the principles of leadership and influence to get the results that you want. He observed, studied, and worked for a good and bad bosses and made plenty of mistakes himself. Dan wants to raise your awareness about leadership and influence the qualities within you for achieving your own desired outcomes. So happy to have you with me, Dan.
Thank you, Patty, for inviting me to your show, and I sure look forward to your fabulous summit. And I'm not only excited about the interview, I'm excited to hear the other speakers as well.
It is amazing with all 8 dimensions of life. And we know every single one of, it's not a even playing field all the time. There's always some ups and downs in other areas of our lives. So having these speakers come on and share and are here to serve to help everybody make the best and the most out of their life. So it's fantastic. So Dan, you told me that you were experienced in a diverse life, in the corporate and entrepreneurial worlds. So what have you learned on your journey that brought you to where you are today?
Well, thank you for asking. I'll start my story with my childhood, but I won't dwell on it because my childhood influenced my early experience in the corporate world. I was raised on a dairy farm in Wisconsin, and this was truly a mom and pop farm, not one of these big mechanized operations that you see on TV or read about in the paper. This was really my first experience with a solopreneur business, and we could barely make ends meet. So the machinery that we used for tilling, planting, and harvesting were constantly breaking down because we couldn't afford new machines. And I watched my dad fix the machines, and from that, learned how to fix them myself. My dad took pride in being a jack of all trades and a master of none, as he would frequently say. Although we did collaborate with neighbors to harvest hay and grain, that's where supplemental muscle was needed, so to speak. But 90% of our activities were confined within our immediate family, which, me being the only child, meant mostly my dad and me. Like most farmers, we prized self-sufficiency. I was the first in our extended family of cousins to attend college. And after receiving a master's degree in mechanical engineering, automotive industry as an engineer for about 18 years, and then the rest of my career in marketing. I was rewarded for getting results. My focus was reducing pollution and fuel consumption in cars and trucks. It was really the start of where I learned the importance of collaboration, but I couldn't shake the self-reliance that I had gained on the farm. And I didn't fully appreciate the value of collaboration. And in fact, it was a little bit irritating to me having to work with other people and expect something from them so I could get my job done and vice versa. And, I wasn't a rebel or anything like that. I was just used to getting things done on my own and not having to rely on technicians and colleagues. Now I was in a world where the problems were bigger than those that could be solved by self-reliance. And I was frustrated at not getting the cooperation I needed and the results I wanted. And really, I didn't understand why. It just wasn't ingrained in me. And as I kept thinking about it and thinking about the frustrations on my commutes to and from home, it fueled a desire to learn more. And I subsequently pursued an MBA with a focus on organizational behavior and marketing. Yet, even with those, I still thought in mechanical terms. For example, organizations put people in boxes on an org chart. Yeah, I can do that. Marketing, design, the promotions, the sales channels, and the organizational support to sell and deliver products. But you really had to understand the customer, and I didn't really understand the customer. But as I think back on this period, I was just, building a little by little, learning how to apply influence and leadership without fully realizing it. And if I'd understood that at the time and combined those experiences into a more cohesive leadership blueprint, I believe I could have gotten much bigger results and been a lot further along in a shorter time than today. Now, I'm not victimizing myself here. I don't consider myself a failure or anything like that. I just fell short of the impact that I had hoped to make in the world by now. But the good news is I'm not done yet. And I've learned from others, and now I want to help others get the bigger results that they want. So I embarked on my entrepreneurial journey in 2010 following an early retirement that I took advantage of during the Great Recession. And in the time between the retirement and a few months later, kind of starting an entrepreneurial company, I had the opportunity to reflect on my career, to study it in the context of great thought leaders like Napoleon Hill, John Maxwell, Brian Tracy, Jack Canfield, and others. And, reading their books and contemplating what I had done, I developed an awareness about the role that influence and leadership played in getting the results that we want.
So fantastic. And that is so true. And there's so much to be learned. So Dan, you progress from a mindset of self-reliance and problem solving into believing in the importance of the influence of leadership and what it has to show us. Tell me more about how you view leadership.
We hear the word leadership tossed around on a daily basis. We hear about people who are described as political leaders, corporate leaders, or thought leaders. And we think of these people as being bigger than life. We often feel we can't aspire to that. On a smaller scale, we see leaders in our church groups, activity groups, our neighborhood groups. One of my experiences with small group leaders is that they tend to have authoritarian tendencies. Some of us would joke that they wanted to become leader of a small group because they couldn't be leader of a big group. We tend to not want to be like them. So in some ways, the idea of leadership seems unattainable or undesirable. Yet, without realizing it, we apply leadership and influence every day. We do it with our children, our spouse, our colleagues, at work with managers, vendors, management. So to be a leader, we don't just have to have employees as a business owner or team members as a team leader. So we can think about leadership in a way because of our everyday experiences. We can think about it in a way that paves the way for us to get the results we want and gain followers who want to help us succeed. I find it helpful to first think about the small, everyday ways in which we apply leadership. The greatest leaders we admire started small and grew with experience. They were born the same as us. They suffered setbacks the same as us. We can learn and develop the same as them. So greatness is within our reach. So let's start with a definition. Definitions help provide an anchor. And I've seen a lot of definitions of leadership, but here's one that resonates with me. So write this down. Leadership is the process of social influence which motivates effort toward achievement of a goal. And there's three key terms in there that I would like to expand on. The first is social influence. Social influence involves a process of framing your desired results to your audience in a way that aligns with their desired results. If somebody wants the same thing as you, influencing them to help is a slam dunk because you're helping them too. Now, let me caution you, don't lie or manipulate. You learn what they want by listening careful to what they desire. If what you want does not align with theirs, it's better to not try to motivate them to help you because you don't have the same alignment. And you can still be friends. You just part ways as friends to go on your respective paths. The second word, the key term, is motivation. It's the desire or willingness of somebody to do something. When you appeal to the internal desires of your audience, they will feel motivated to help you and to help you move toward your desired result. And the third term is goal. This is your desired result. You have to know this because you can send anybody in any direction if you don't know where you're going or where you're sending them. But you want to achieve a result. You're going to have more success as well by knowing and explaining the why the desired result is important. And team leaders often have the good habit of continually explaining the why to their team so that everybody understands the reason that they are doing what they're doing. My best bosses gave me a clear set of goals that aligned with the company's mission. And they also asked me, what did I need from them to be more effective? Now, my worst bosses, they told me what I should have done after I did the wrong thing, despite thinking I was doing what was asked of me. So there's a lesson to be learned there as well. So let me repeat again. Leadership is the process of social influence, which motivates effort toward achievement of a goal.
So wonderful, Dan. And that helps people wrap their heads around everything when you're so clear with that. Fantastic. And it's important for people to know that. So you said that we're born leaders, but does not, most everybody doesn't believe that they're a leader. Can you expand on this?
We're born with an innate ability and, to get the results we want. And we kind of lose that if we don't nurture it. Let me start with an example. When we were a baby, we learned that we could get attention if we were hungry and wanted to be fed, or if we had an uncomfortable diaper that we wanted changed. Now, crying was somewhat of a coercive type of leadership because our caregivers, they wanted us to be happy. and some of them were perhaps irritated by our noise. As we grew older, we were expected to verbalize what we wanted. And we often verbalized things that weren't good for us, and we were told no. Also, if we took it upon ourselves to explore, say, kitchen cabinets or to grab another child's toy, we were again told no, possibly even more vigorously. And depending on the severity of our infraction, we could have gotten a hand slap. This was the beginning of suppressing our natural leadership tendencies because we did not know how to lead with social influence. When we entered school, we learned to sit quietly when the teacher spoke, to stand in a straight line for recess, and to not run in the hall. Violating these rules earned a sharp scolding. So over time, we learned compliance rather than leadership to get the results we want. What did we want? We wanted the admiration of our teachers if we behaved. We wanted the approval of our parents for getting good grades. And then we progressed to high school and college. And there we started learning a little bit more about social influence. But we also observed that the athletic students, they were the ones, the football captains who earned the admiration of their peers as sports stars, or the cheerleaders out in front of the crowds. Yeah, some of the people in debate clubs and school plays got the opportunity to get admired. But what about the lesser skilled students and players? Or they just didn't participate due to lack of skill or confidence in performing. And what about the late bloomers? What about those who tried and failed? All these experiences created a lack of confidence, and we carried that lack of confidence and fear into our careers. And we, kind of regressed into our own little corners. Now, some people learn how to overcome self-imposed obstacles, and they thrive. These are the people that we see out front today. Many are held back by limiting beliefs. They feel like they don't possess the skills or to get the results they want. So they settle for what they can get. When we measure up to increased expectations, our confidence increases. When we do not measure up, our confidence is knocked down a notch. So the sum of all the experiences through our life got us to where we are today. And that can be good. It could mean that there's room for improvement. The good news is, if there is room for improvement, we can determine our path for tomorrow. We start by understanding that we do indeed practice leadership and influencing every day that we take for granted. Great leaders, on the other hand, they go beyond that by creating intentional habits that form them into a great leader. And we can choose the type of leader that we want to be, and we can choose the size of impact that we want to make.
Oh, wonderful, Dan. So now let me ask you, because this triggered something for me. What does it mean with intentional habits? What are you referring to? What are some of the actions our listeners can apply to understand leadership skills to get the results that they want?
Well, every leader is different, and they develop their own style based on their experience, what gives them comfort from their formative years, as well as what they have learned from their experiences and from leaders who inspired them. From this, they created a blueprint that fit their personality, defined the results they want, and defined their principles of conduct. Something else that is very important for us to brand ourselves. There are 10 principles that I won't talk about here. I talk about them in an ebook that I will give as a gift to our listeners. But there are two behaviors that I think are key. And if there's a takeaway for you from today's discussion, I want you to understand these two behaviors. They are very simple. They're not necessarily always easy because of the emotion involved, but I found when I adopted these behaviors, I had much greater ease and confidence in developing relationships, which are key to getting the results we want. Number one is to help people feel good about themselves. Write that down. Help people feel good about themselves. And how do we do that? We do this by listening intently. We listen with our eyes. We look into the eyes of the person we're interacting with. It will help them feel like they are the most important person in the world. And when we are talking with somebody or listening to somebody, do it with a positive attitude. When you are positive, they feel positive. When they feel positive, they feel good. The second behavior is to serve others first. Yeah, we have goals, and we should have goals, but we're not going to get far if that's all we talk about and the only thing we ask for. You've heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, most probably, and he makes the point in his book of offering value first, when in the book titled Jab, 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 Right Hook. And he suggests offering value multiple times before making our ask. And it helps make it easier for the customer to accept what we're asking for, because they will feel like they know you, they like you, and they trust you. And as a corollary to both of these, I might add to serve others with integrity. And that means following through on promises. Don't make false promises or promises that you don't think you're going to keep or that you don't think you can keep. I've experienced incidents with salespeople who made false promises, and the bitter taste led to a poor relationship with the companies between me and the companies they represented. So when making others feel good and offering them value, serve them with integrity and authenticity. Only make promises for which you can follow through. Again, the two behaviors are to help people feel good about themselves and to serve others first.
Wonderful, great tips that you're sharing here with everyone, Dan. So you said you had some gifts for the viewers and listeners. Can you tell us what you have for them and how they can get it?
Yeah, thank you. I had mentioned it earlier, and I'm really excited about this. I told you about the 10 principles that great leaders have developed for themselves in the roadmap that they created for themselves. I didn't talk about the 10 principles themselves because it requires a much longer discussion than the time we had. And I want everyone who is watching to realize the leader within them and to apply it to their everyday interactions. And I hope that the short talk today got you motivated to learn more and to understand how you can be more effective at getting the results you want. The gift is a 41-page ebook. It's also really a workbook for you to create your own leadership blueprint using those 10 principles that great leaders adopt and use in their everyday leadership. What are those 10 principles? I suggest you get the book, learn about these principles, and answer the questions in there for yourself and make them fit your own life, your own style. This gift normally costs $197, but it has a priceless value, and you will get that value to the extent of how you look into it and how you answer those questions. And you're not going to do it necessarily in 15 minutes, but you will refine it over time. So the landing site, the landing page that where you'll get this gift at the website shown, it will also offer the first 20 people the ability to schedule a free 30-minute one-on-one Zoom meeting with me. During that time, I will answer any questions that came up in the free book or provide feedback on the results you want. You know, whether those are results that make sense or if you can present them in a different way. I am just passionate about helping you succeed. I might add, if it's okay, Patty, that I'm launching a 6-week, 6-module course on November 2nd, and it's titled Leadership Impact Formula. And this course is for those who want to dig deeper into adopting the 10 principles that great leaders adopted for their own blueprint. And if you get the free ebook, I will offer the course at a greatly discounted price to you.
Oh, what a wonderful gift, Dan. I am sure that our viewers and listeners will be interested in finding out how they can create and understand their own leadership style with that blueprint. Fantastic. For anyone who'd like to find out more about me, you can go to patriciajogrover.com. And if you have text the word GOAL, GOAL, to 26786, if you're in the continental US, you'll have goodies come right to your inbox. And if you're outside the continental US, if you text GOAL to 1-866-926-4020, you'll have the same goodies come to you. And I thank you, Dan, for being with me for this episode. We'll see you on the Rise Above Summit in the vocational dimension. And I have a little video for everyone on the way out. See you next time.
Thank you, Patty.